Montana Territory, August 1883. Jack McCann stood at the edge of the Yellowstone River, staring down at the leather pouch in his hand. $4.17. That was everything. The sum total of 7 years spent drifting from one nameless town to the next, one job to another, one empty dawn after another. The last time he'd had a family was 7 years ago. A double grave outside Fort Laramie, Wyoming. 2 names carved into wood that the wind had probably worn smooth by now. Sarah McCann, Emma McCann, wife and daughter. 5 years old when the scarlet fever took her. 28 when it took his Sarah 3 days later. Jack hadn't spoken those names out loud since. He'd promised Sarah he'd keep Emma safe. Promised it the day she was born. Promised it every night when he tucked her into bed. Promised it the morning he rode out with the cavalry patrol that kept him away the week the fever came through Fort Laramie like wildfire. He broke that promise. And a man who breaks his word isn't much of a man at all. The river ran dark in the fading light. August heat still pressed down even as the sun dropped behind the mountains. Jack's horse, a patient roan mare named Copper, stood ground-tied behind him, waiting, always waiting. That's all Jack had been doing for 7 years, waiting for something he couldn't name, waiting for the pain to stop, waiting to feel anything other than the hollow ache that had taken up permanent residence in his chest. He should have kept riding south, should have crossed into Wyoming, maybe pushed all the way to Colorado. Work was scarce this late in summer, but a man who didn't eat much and didn't ask for much could always find something. Mucking stables, chopping wood, anything that didn't require talking or thinking or remembering. The scream shattered the evening stillness like glass. High-pitched, desperate, a child's voice. "Mister, help, they're going to kill my mama." Jack's hands froze. The pouch slipped from his fingers, coins scattering into the dirt. His heart stopped, then kicked against his ribs so hard it hurt. That was Emma's voice. No, it wasn't. Emma was dead, 7 years dead. Buried in Wyoming dirt under a wooden cross Jack had carved himself because he couldn't afford stone. But his legs were already moving, running, boots pounding the hard-packed earth as he crashed through the brush along the riverbank. Copper whinnied behind him, startled, but Jack didn't stop, couldn't stop. The voice came again, closer now. "Please, somebody, she's hurt bad." Jack burst through a stand of cottonwoods into a small clearing. The last rays of sunlight cut through the branches, painting everything in shades of gold and shadow. And there, in the center of that light, was a boy, maybe 7 years old, thin, dirt-streaked face, wearing trousers 2 sizes too big, held up with rope. No shoes. His feet were cut and bleeding from running over rocks and thorns. But it was his eyes that stopped Jack cold. Terror. Pure animal terror. The kind a child shouldn't know. The boy saw Jack and his whole body jerked forward like he'd been yanked by an invisible rope. "Mister, please," the words tumbled out in a rush. "My mama, she's hurt. They hurt her bad and she can't walk and I don't know what to do and I ran and ran. But nobody came and please, mister, please." Jack's throat closed. He couldn't speak, couldn't move. All he could see was Emma, the last morning, her small hand in his. "Daddy, don't leave me. I don't feel good. I'll be back in 3 days, baby girl, I promise." He'd broken that promise. The boy grabbed Jack's hand. His fingers were small and sticky with something dark, blood, not his own. "Please," the boy whispered. "You gotta help her. You gotta." Jack's voice came out rough, unused. "Where?" "Down there." The boy pointed toward a gully that cut through the rocks about 50 yards east, by the old wagon trail. "She told me to run, told me to find help. You're the first person I seen in 2 hours. How bad is she hurt?" "Real bad. There's blood, lots of blood, and she won't wake up right." "How many men?" The boy's eyes went wide. "You believe me?" Jack looked down at the child, at the blood on his hands, at his bare, torn feet, at the way his whole body shook. "Yeah, son, I believe you. 3 men, the boy said. Big men. One of them hit her, kept hitting her. Mama fought back, but he was too strong, and then they left and she fell down, and I couldn't get her up, and I'm scared, mister. I'm real scared. What's your name? Cole. Cole Bishop. All right, Cole Bishop. Jack's hand moved to the Colt revolver at his hip, checking the load without thinking. His cavalry training, buried but not forgotten, rose to the surface. You're going to show me where she is, and then you're going to do exactly what I say. Understand? Yes, sir. They moved through the brush. Jack kept one hand on Cole's shoulder, partly to guide him, partly to keep the boy from running ahead. The gully opened up before them, a slash in the earth where winter runoff had carved through rock and clay. At the bottom, barely visible in the growing shadows, was a woman. She lay against the far bank, half propped against a boulder. Her dress was torn. Dark stains spread across the fabric. One arm hung at an angle that made Jack's stomach turn. Her face was swollen, purple bruises blooming across her jaw and cheek. Blood matted her dark hair, but she was breathing. Jack could see her chest rise and fall in shallow, labored movements. Stay here, he told Cole. But stay here. Jack slid down the bank, loose stones cascading ahead of him. He knelt beside the woman, fingers moving to her neck, finding the pulse. Thready, fast, not good, but alive. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused, glassy with pain and shock. No, she whispered. The word came out slurred. Don't trust. All men lie, all men. Ma'am, I'm not here to hurt you. She tried to push him away with her good arm. The effort made her cry out, a sound of pure agony that cut through Jack like a knife. Your boy brought me, Jack said quietly. Cole. He ran 2 hours to find help. I'm what he found. Her eyes tried to focus on his face, searched for something. Truth, maybe, or just another lie. Cole, she breathed. He's safe, right up there. But you're hurt bad, ma'am. I need to get you to a doctor. No doctor, no town. They'll find us. Who? She didn't answer. Her eyes rolled back and she went limp. Jack caught her before she slumped completely. His hands moved on instinct, checking for injuries. 3 ribs, at least 2 broken. The arm was dislocated at the shoulder, not broken, but it would hurt like hell. The worst was the gash along her side. Deep, deliberate, made by something sharp. A knife, probably. Someone had cut her, not in a fight. This was punishment. Mama! Cole was scrambling down the bank, ignoring Jack's order to stay put. The boy threw himself at his mother, grabbing her good hand. Mama, wake up! Please wake up! I brought help, like you said. I found someone. Wake up. Jack put a hand on Cole's shoulder. She's alive, son. But she needs a doctor. You know the nearest town? Silver Bend. Cole's voice shook. But Mama said we can't go there. Said the men who hurt her, they're from there. How far? 5 miles, maybe 6. Jack looked at the woman. Anna, he'd heard Cole call her earlier. Anna Bishop. She wouldn't last the night out here. Infection would set in. She'd already lost too much blood. He should leave, should walk away. This wasn't his problem. Wasn't his fight. He'd learned the hard way that caring about people only led to pain, to broken promises and graves in the dirt. But Cole was looking at him with those wide, terrified eyes, holding his mother's hand like if he just held tight enough, she wouldn't slip away. And Jack heard Emma's voice. Daddy, don't leave me. He'd left, and she'd died alone, reaching for a father who wasn't there. All right, Jack said. His voice came out rougher than he intended. We're going to Silver Bend. But Mama said, your mama needs help or she's going to die. That's the truth, Cole. Sometimes you got to face the danger to save what matters. Jack shrugged out of his duster coat, folded it, and made a pad. He pressed it against the wound on Anna's side. She moaned, but didn't wake. I need you to hold this, Jack told Cole. Press hard. Don't let up no matter what. Can you do that? The boy nodded, placed his small hands on the coat. Pressed. Jack moved to Anna's dislocated shoulder. This was going to hurt. Hurt her, hurt him to do it. but if they tried to move her like this, she'd go into shock. He positioned his hands, braced himself, then pulled. The shoulder popped back into place with a sound like a branch snapping. Anna's scream ripped through the gully. Her eyes flew open, wild with pain. Then she slumped again, unconscious. Cole was crying silently, tears cutting clean tracks through the dirt on his face. "You did good," Jack said. "Real good. Your mama's going to be all right. You hear me?" "How do you know?" "Because I'm not going to let anything else happen to her." Jack said the words before he thought about them, before he could stop himself. "That's a promise." Cole looked at him, really looked, searching Jack's face the same way his mother had. "You promise?" The word hung in the air between them, heavy, binding. Jack knew what promises cost, knew what happened when you broke them. But he looked at this boy, this terrified child who'd run barefoot through the wilderness because his mother told him to, and he couldn't say no. "I promise." Cole wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. "Okay, mister. Okay, call me Jack. Okay, Jack." They got Anna up the bank. Jack carried her, trying to ignore how light she was, how breakable she felt in his arms. Too thin, the kind of thin that came from working too hard and eating last. Copper was still waiting where Jack had left her, patient as ever. Jack fashioned a sling from his bedroll, rigged it across the saddle. Not comfortable, but it would hold Anna steady. "Cole, you're going to ride behind her. Hold on tight. If she starts to slip, you holler. What about you?" "I'm walking. That's a long walk. I've walked further." They started south as the last light bled from the sky. Jack led Copper by the reins, one hand on Anna's leg to keep her stable. Cole sat behind his mother, arms wrapped around her waist, face pressed against her back. The night came down heavy and hot. No moon yet, just stars scattered across black velvet like someone had thrown a handful of diamonds and forgotten to pick them up. Jack's mind wandered as they walked. Dangerous territory. Memories lived there. Sarah's laugh, Emma's small hand in his, the way she'd say "Daddy" with that slight lisp because she couldn't quite get her tongue around the D. He'd tried so hard not to think about them, tried to bury it all under miles and silence and the kind of exhaustion that came from never staying anywhere long enough to care. But Cole's voice kept breaking through. "Jack? Yeah? You got kids?" The question hit like a fist to the gut. Jack's step faltered. "Recovered. Had a daughter once. Where is she now?" Jack was quiet for a long time, just the sound of Copper's hooves on packed earth, the creak of leather, Anna's labored breathing. "She died," Jack finally said. "Long time ago. I'm sorry." "Me too, son. Me too." "What was her name?" Jack's throat closed. He hadn't said it out loud in 7 years, hadn't let himself. "Emma." "That's a pretty name. She was a pretty girl." Cole was quiet for a minute. Then, soft as a whisper, "I bet she was brave too, like my mama." Jack's eyes burned. He blinked hard against the sudden pressure. "Yeah," he said, "I bet she was." They walked on through the darkness. The miles stretched out behind them like a ribbon of shadow. Jack kept his pace steady, mechanical. One foot in front of the other. That's all life had been for 7 years. Keep moving. Don't stop, don't think, don't feel. But tonight was different. Tonight he had a destination, a purpose, something beyond just surviving until tomorrow. An hour passed, maybe 2. Time felt strange, stretched thin. Anna woke once, confused and frightened, tried to fight against the sling. Jack had to stop, talk her down in a low, steady voice. "You're safe, ma'am. I'm taking you to a doctor. Your boy's right here. He's safe too." "Cole," Anna whispered. Her good hand reached back, found his. "I'm here, Mama. I got help, just like you said." "You shouldn't have," Anna said. Her words slurred together. "Too dangerous. Should have run. I ain't leaving you, Mama." Anna's eyes found Jack's in the darkness. "Who are you?" "Just a man passing through, ma'am." "Why are you helping us?" "Because your boy asked me to. Men don't help for nothing." Her voice held an edge of bitterness that told a story all its own. "What do you want?" "Nothing, ma'am. Just trying to keep a promise." Anna stared at him, trying to understand, trying to reconcile the words with a world that had taught her men couldn't be trusted. "I didn't ask you to promise anything," she finally said. "No, ma'am. I promised your boy." Anna's face crumpled. For just a moment, the hard shell cracked, and Jack saw the woman underneath, scared, exhausted, clinging to hope by her fingernails. Then she closed her eyes and let the darkness take her again. Jack started walking. Copper followed without complaint. The mare had been with him for 3 years now, bought her off a rancher in Colorado who was going bust. She was getting old, like Jack. Both of them worn down by too many miles and not enough rest. But she was reliable, never complained, never asked for more than water and grain and a kind word now and then. Sometimes Jack thought Copper was the only friend he had left in the world. The stars wheeled overhead. Jack found the North Star out of habit. Old cavalry training. Always know your direction. Always know your way home. Except he didn't have a home. Hadn't had one since Fort Laramie. Since the day he came back from patrol to find the post surgeon waiting with the kind of face that told you everything before he opened his mouth. "Your wife, Mr. McCann, and your daughter. I'm sorry. We did everything we could." Jack had stood there in the summer heat, dust from the ride still coating his uniform, and felt his whole world collapse into a single point of unbearable pain. "Why didn't someone send for me?" "We did, sir, 3 times, but your unit was engaged with hostiles." "The messages never got through." "How long?" "They passed 2 days ago. Together." "Your wife held Emma the whole time. I made sure of it. Made sure Emma wasn't alone." But she was alone, because her father had been 50 miles away, chasing shadows through the Badlands while his little girl burned with fever and called for him. Jack shook his head, forcing the memories back. That way lay madness. He'd learned that the hard way. Spent 6 months after the funeral drinking himself into oblivion, trying to drown the guilt and the grief in whatever rot-gut whiskey he could find. It hadn't worked. Nothing worked. The pain just got deeper, sharper, until one day he woke up in a ditch outside Cheyenne and realized he had a choice. He could die right there, or he could get up and keep moving. He'd chosen to move. And he'd been moving ever since. Cole's voice broke through again. "Jack?" "Yeah, son." "How much further?" "Not far now. Maybe another hour. Mama's real hot. I can feel it through her dress." Jack's jaw tightened. Fever. He'd known it would come. The question was how bad it would get before they reached the doctor. "Just keep talking to her," Jack said. "Let her know you're there. Sometimes that helps." Cole leaned forward, his mouth close to his mother's ear. "I'm here, Mama. We're almost to town. You're gonna be okay," Jack promised. Jack felt the weight of those words settle on his shoulders like a physical thing. The boy believed in him, trusted him, put his faith in a stranger's promise. "Don't let me break this one," Jack thought. "Please, God, if you're listening, don't let me break this one." The miles passed. Jack's legs ached. His boots had raised blisters that broke and bled, and he kept walking. Pain was nothing. He'd learned to live with pain. It was the silence he couldn't stand, the empty spaces where voices used to be. But tonight the silence was filled with Copper's steady breathing, with Anna's fevered mumbling, with Cole's whispered reassurances to his mother, with the promise of something Jack thought he'd lost forever. Purpose. They crested a low rise, and there, spread out in the valley below, was Silver Bend. Lamplight glowed in a dozen windows. The town was bigger than Jack had expected. Maybe 40 buildings, a proper main street. He could make out a church steeple, dark against the stars. "We're here," Jack said. "Cole, you still with me?" "Yes, sir." "Good boy." Almost done now. They descended into the valley. The road became more defined, wagon ruts cutting deep into the packed earth. Someone had put effort into this road. That meant commerce, money, the kind of town that could support a timber operation, the kind of town where a man like Nathaniel Stone could build an empire. Jack's hand drifted to the Colt at his hip. Old habit, when you rode into unfamiliar territory, you went ready for trouble, especially when you were carrying someone else's wounded. They reached the edge of town just before midnight. Most of the buildings were dark. A few oil lamps burned in windows. The saloon at the far end still showed light, and the faint sound of a piano drifted through the night air. Jack stopped, studied the layout. Always know your exits. Always know the terrain. "Where's the doctor?" he asked Cole. "End of the street. White house with green shutters. Can't miss it. Any law in this town? Got a sheriff." Cole's voice went tight. "Name's Daniels, but he's friends with Mr. Stone. Friends with the men who hurt Mama. She said we can't trust him." Jack filed that away. "Figured as much. Anyone else we should worry about? Mr. Stone's got men, lots of them. Work at the mill mostly. But some of them, they do other things. Bad things." "Like what?" Cole was quiet for a moment. "Like making sure people do what Mr. Stone wants. Like making sure nobody talks back or asks questions or tries to leave." Jack's eyes narrowed. "You're talking about muscle. Enforcers. I don't know what that means. It means your Mr. Stone runs this town like his own private kingdom. And men like that don't take kindly to having their property walk away. Mama ain't property. No, son, she ain't. But I got a feeling Mr. Stone sees it different." They moved down the main street. A few curtains twitched as they passed. Small towns noticed strangers, especially strangers carrying wounded women in the middle of the night. Jack kept his eyes moving, cataloging. The general store with iron bars on the windows. The land office, dark and shuttered. The hotel, 2 stories with a covered porch. The livery stable at the north end, big enough for 20 horses. And at the south end, set back from the street behind a white picket fence, the doctor's house, white clapboard. Green shutters, a lamp burning in the front window, smoke rising from the chimney despite the summer heat. Someone was home. Someone was awake. Jack tied copper to the hitching post and lifted Anna from the saddle. She was completely unconscious now. Her breathing had gone shallow, rapid. The fever was burning through her like wildfire. He carried her up the steps. Cole ran ahead, knocked on the door. 3 sharp raps that echoed in the quiet street. A minute passed. Then, footsteps inside. Heavy, deliberate. Not running, but not slow either. The door opened to reveal a woman in her late 50s. Gray hair pulled back in a severe bun, sharp eyes behind wire-rimmed spectacles. She wore a practical cotton dress, sleeves rolled up to her elbows. In one hand, she held an oil lamp. In the other, a small revolver pointed directly at Jack's chest. Her eyes went from Jack to Anna to Cole. "All business." "Bring her in," the woman said, quickly. Inside, the house smelled of carbolic and dried herbs. Clean, organized. The kind of clean that came from years of medical practice. The woman led them through a front parlor and into a back room that had been converted into a surgery. A narrow table stood under 2 large oil lamps. Cabinets lined the walls, filled with bottles and instruments. Everything in its place. Everything ready. Set her down. Gentle. Jack laid Anna on the table, stepped back. His hands were shaking. He clenched them into fists, forced them still. The woman was already moving. Hands checking pulse, breathing pupils. Fingers probing the ribs, the shoulder, the wound on Anna's side. Her movements were efficient, practiced. She'd done this before, many times. 3 broken ribs, dislocated shoulder already set, deep laceration to the right side, possible internal bleeding, the woman said. More to herself than to Jack. "When did this happen?" 3-4 hours ago, Jack said. "Maybe more." "You set the shoulder?" "Yes, ma'am." The woman glanced at him. "Former military? Cavalry scout?" She nodded like that explained everything. Then her attention returned to Anna. She began cutting away the torn dress, exposing the wounds. Cole made a small sound. A whimper that cut straight through Jack's heart. Jack pulled the boy against his side. turned him away from the table. "You don't need to see this, son. But Mama, your Mama's in good hands now. Best thing you can do is let the doctor work." The woman looked up. "Dr. Margaret Harrison. Most people call me Doc Maggie. And you are?" "Jack McCann." "Well, Mr. McCann, I need you to take the boy out front. There's a pump in the yard. Get him cleaned up. Get yourself cleaned up. Both of you look like you've been through hell and back. Will she live?" Doc Maggie's face was unreadable, professional, but Jack saw something flicker in her eyes, uncertainty, concern. "I'll do everything I can," she said, "but she's lost a lot of blood. The wound is infected. Fever's already set in. The next few hours will tell." Jack nodded. He understood. He'd heard doctors say similar things before, about Sarah, about Emma. "Come on, Cole," he said gently, "but I want to stay with Mama. Your Mama needs the doctor to work. We'd just be in the way. We'll be right outside. I promise." There was that word again. Promise. It seemed to follow Jack like a shadow. Cole looked up at him, those big, trusting eyes. Then he nodded and let Jack lead him out. The yard behind the house was small but well kept, a vegetable garden along one side, a chicken coop on the other, and in the center an iron pump with a wooden bucket hanging from the spout. Jack worked the handle. It took a few pumps to prime it, but then cold, clear water gushed out. He filled the bucket, set it down. "Come here, son." Cole approached slowly. His whole body was shaking. Shock, probably. The adrenaline wearing off, the reality of what had happened settling in. Jack knelt down, looked at the boy's feet. They were a mess. Cut, bruised, swollen. Some of the cuts were deep. They'd need cleaning or they could get infected just like his mother's wound. "This is going to sting," Jack said. "But we got to clean them. You understand?" "Yes, sir." "You're a brave boy, Cole Bishop." "I don't feel brave." "That's how you know you are. Brave ain't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing what needs doing anyway." Jack cupped water in his hands, poured it gently over Cole's feet. The boy flinched but didn't pull away, just stood there, teeth clenched, while Jack washed away the blood and dirt. The water in the bucket turned pink, then red. Jack dumped it, refilled it, started again. "Tell me about your daddy," Jack said. Figured talking might help, might keep Cole's mind off the pain and the fear. Cole's voice was small. "What do you want to know? What kind of man was he?" "Good." Cole said it without hesitation. "Real good. He never yelled, never hit. Even when I did something wrong, he'd just talk to me, explain why it was wrong and help me do better. Sounds like a fine father. He was the best." Cole's voice cracked. "He used to take me to the mill on Saturdays, let me watch him work. He could make anything out of wood. Tables, chairs, cabinets. He made Mama a music box for her birthday. Carved flowers all over it. It played a song. I don't remember the name. What happened to it?" "Mr. Stone took it. Took everything when we went to work at the mill. Said we didn't need personal things. Said the mill would provide what we needed." Jack's jaw tightened. He kept washing Cole's feet, kept his voice calm. "Your Mama said your daddy's death wasn't an accident." He all nodded. "Cable broke. Daddy was up on a platform, moving lumber. Cable snapped and he fell, 20 feet. Broke his neck." "I'm sorry, son. Mama said the cable was cut, said she saw the marks. But when she tried to tell the sheriff, he said she was just upset. Said accidents happen. Said the mill was dangerous and Daddy knew the risks. Do you believe the cable was cut?" Cole looked at Jack, dead serious. "Daddy checked every cable twice, every single time. He was real careful. He wouldn't have used a bad cable. Never. So somebody cut it. That's what Mama thinks. Why?" Cole shrugged. "Mama said Mister. Stone wanted Daddy to do something. Some kind of paperwork. But Daddy said no. Said it wasn't right. They had a big argument about it. Then a week later, Daddy died." Jack sat back on his heels. The pieces were starting to fit together. A timber baron with questionable business practices. A skilled carpenter who refused to go along. A convenient accident. A widow forced into servitude to pay a fabricated debt. It was an old story, the strong preying on the weak, the powerful crushing anyone who stood against them. Jack had seen it during the war, seen it in every town he'd passed through since. Men like Nathaniel Stone built empires on the backs of people who had no power to fight back. But this time, those people had Jack McCann, and Jack had made a promise. "Your feet are clean," he said. "Let's get the rest of you sorted." He helped Cole wash his hands, his face, his arms. The boy was covered in dried blood, most of it his mother's. It took 3 buckets of water before Cole looked like a child again instead of a casualty of war. Jack washed himself next, face, hands, arms. The water turned dark with dirt and blood and sweat. When he was done, he felt almost human again. They sat on the back steps, waiting. The surgery lamp glowed through the window. Jack could see Doc Maggie's shadow moving back and forth, working, fighting. "How long you been riding?" Cole asked. "What? You said you were cavalry." "How long? 8 years? Joined up in 75? Got out in 83? Why'd you leave?" Jack was quiet for a moment. "Because the war was over and I didn't have anything to go home to. Because of Emma. Yeah, because of Emma." Cole leaned against Jack's side, just settled there, small and warm and trusting. Jack's arm came up automatically, wrapped around the boy's shoulders. They sat like that for a long time, not talking, just being. The door opened. Doc Maggie stood there, backlit by the lamp. Her sleeves were soaked with blood. Her face was tired. But when she spoke, her voice was steady. "She's stable. For now." Jack and Cole were on their feet instantly. "I've cleaned and stitched the wound," Doc Maggie continued. "Set the ribs as best I can. She's got a fever. That's the real danger now. Next 24 hours will tell if the infection takes hold or if her body can fight it off." "Can we see her?" Cole's voice was desperate. "She's sleeping. Best thing for her right now. But you can sit with her if you're quiet." Cole looked at Jack, asking permission without words. "Go on," Jack said. "I'll be right here." The boy disappeared inside. Doc Maggie stepped out onto the porch, closed the door behind her. She pulled out a handkerchief, wiped blood from her hands. "She's been beaten before," Doc Maggie said quietly. "I can see old bruises, old fractures that healed wrong. This wasn't the first time someone hurt her." Jack's hands clenched into fists. The knife wound is deliberate, precise. Someone knew exactly what they were doing, cutting deep enough to hurt, to mark, but not deep enough to kill immediately. This was a message. What kind of message? The kind that says you belong to me, and if you try to leave again, it'll be worse. Jack was quiet for a moment. Then, "Do you know Nathaniel Stone?" Doc Maggie's expression hardened. "Everyone knows Nathaniel Stone. What kind of man is he? The kind that owns this town, the kind that owns the mill, the land, the timber rights for 50 miles in every direction. The kind that owns the sheriff, the mayor, probably half the county judge, too. And the kind that beats women who try to leave." Doc Maggie looked at Jack. Really looked, measuring him. "I've been practicing medicine in Silver Bend for 8 years, she said. "In that time, I've treated 11 women with injuries just like Anna's. Cuts, bruises, broken bones. All of them worked for Stone. All of them tried to leave. All of them were brought back and made an example of. What happened to them? Some went back to work. Some disappeared. One died from her injuries." Doc Maggie's voice was flat, controlled, and every single time the sheriff ruled it an accident or self-inflicted, or just didn't investigate at all. So Stone runs everything. Stone is everything. This town exists because of the mill. The mill exists because of Stone. You cross Stone, you cross the whole town. What about you? I'm a doctor, I take an oath. I help anyone who needs it, regardless of who they are or who they've crossed. Stone leaves me alone because he knows people need a doctor, even his own men. But you don't like it. Doc Maggie smiled, thin, hard. "I despise it. I've been writing letters to the territorial governor for 5 years, to U.S. Marshals, to anyone who might listen. Nothing ever comes of it. Stone's too powerful, too connected. What if someone stood up to him? Then that someone would end up in the ground. Doc Maggie looked at Jack. Is that someone you, Mr. McCann? Jack thought about Cole, about the promise he'd made, about 7 years of running from everything that mattered. I don't know yet, he said honestly, but I made a promise to that boy, and I aim to keep it. A promise to do what? Keep his mama safe. Doc Maggie studied him for a long moment. You know what you're taking on? No, ma'am, I don't. But I reckon I'll find out. Stone will come. Maybe not tonight, but soon. He'll want Anna back. And he'll want to make sure everyone knows what happens to people who steal from him. Let him come. You're one man. I've been one man before. Against how many? Jack shrugged. More than one. Fewer than an army. That's not much of an answer. It's the only one I got. Doc Maggie almost smiled. You remind me of someone. Who? My husband. He stood up to Stone once, over a land dispute. Stone claimed water rights that didn't belong to him. My husband challenged it, took it to court. What happened? He died 2 weeks before the trial. Horse threw him on his way home from town, broke his neck. Doc Maggie's voice didn't waver, but her eyes told the truth. The saddle had been cut, the girth strap. Someone wanted him off that horse. Jack felt something cold settle in his gut. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be smart. Stone doesn't fight fair. He doesn't fight in the open. He uses proxies, uses the law, uses accidents that aren't accidents. If you're going to stand against him, you need to be ready for that. I'll keep it in mind. There's a barn out back, hay and blankets. You can sleep there tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure out what comes next. Thank you, Doctor. Don't thank me yet. We don't know if Anna's going to make it through the night. And even if she does, Stone's still out there. Still has all the power, still owns this town. Maybe, Jack said, but he doesn't own me. He went inside to check on Cole. The boy sat beside his mother's bed holding her hand. Anna lay pale and still, barely breathing. But she was alive. Jack stood in the doorway, watching. And for the first time in 7 years, he felt something other than emptiness. He felt purpose. Jack woke to the sound of roosters and the smell of coffee. For a moment, disoriented in the gray light of dawn filtering through the barn slats, he couldn't remember where he was. Then it all came rushing back. Anna, Cole, the promise. He sat up, hay falling from his clothes. His body ached from sleeping on the ground, but that was nothing new. 7 years of drifting had taught him to sleep anywhere. The Colt was still in his hand, right where he'd kept it through the night. Old habits. He stood, brushed himself off, and walked to the barn door. The sun was just cresting the mountains to the east, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Silver Bend looked different in daylight. Smaller, more vulnerable. A collection of wooden buildings huddled together against the vast Montana wilderness. The back door of Doc Maggie's house opened. She stepped out, still wearing the same blood-stained dress from last night. Her face was drawn, exhausted. But she was smiling. She made it through the night, Doc Maggie called. Fever broke about an hour ago. Jack felt something release in his chest. Relief. Pure and simple. Thank you, he said. Don't thank me. Thank her. She's tougher than she looks. Can I see her? Give her another hour. She needs rest. But the boy's been asking for you. Jack found Cole in the kitchen, sitting at a small table with a plate of eggs and bread in front of him. The boy looked up when Jack entered. His face was clean, his hair combed. Someone had found him fresh clothes, a shirt that was too big, and trousers that had been rolled up at the cuffs. "Mama's gonna be okay," Cole said. The words came out in a rush, like he'd been holding them in all night. Doc Maggie said so. That's real good news, son. She woke up a little bit ago, asked for me, said my name. What'd you tell her? Told her I was here, told her you kept your promise. Jack sat down across from Cole. The boy pushed the plate toward him. Doc Maggie made extra. Said you probably didn't eat yesterday. Jack hadn't. He'd been too focused on getting Anna to town. But now, looking at the food, his stomach cramped with hunger. He took a piece of bread, ate slowly. Cole watched him, those serious eyes studying Jack's face. "You gonna leave?" the boy asked quietly. "Now that Mama's okay?" The question hung in the air. Jack had been asking himself the same thing all night. The smart move was to leave, get on Copper, and ride south before Nathaniel Stone showed up, before this became his fight. But he'd made a promise. "Not yet," Jack said. "Not until I know your Mama's safe. Mr. Stone's gonna come." "I reckon he will." "What are you gonna do?" Jack looked at the boy, 7 years old, and already asking the hard questions. Already understanding that the world was a dangerous place where bad men did bad things, and most people just looked the other way. "I'm gonna make sure he doesn't take you or your Mama," Jack said. "That's what I'm gonna do." "How?" "Haven't figured that part out yet." Cole nodded. Like that made perfect sense. Like having a plan wasn't as important as having someone who cared enough to try. They finished breakfast in silence. Then Doc Maggie came in and said Anna was awake and asking for them both. Jack followed Cole down the hallway to the surgery. Anna lay on the table, now covered with clean sheets. Her face was still bruised, still swollen, but her eyes were clear, alert. When she saw Cole, she tried to sit up. "Don't," Doc Maggie said sharply. "You'll tear the stitches." Anna settled back. Cole ran to her side, grabbed her hand. "I'm okay, Mama. I'm okay. I know, baby." Anna's voice was hoarse, weak, but steady. "You did so good, so brave." Her eyes found Jack, standing in the doorway, watching. "You," she said. "You're real." "Yes, ma'am. I thought maybe I dreamed you, thought maybe I was dying and my mind made you up. I'm real enough." Anna studied him, really looked. Like she was trying to understand what kind of man would help a stranger for no reason other than a child's desperate plea. "Cole says you promised to keep me safe." "That's right. Why?" Jack was quiet for a moment. "Because I broke a promise once. Cost me everything that mattered. Don't aim to do it again." Anna's expression softened. Just a fraction. The hard shell she'd built around herself cracking. "You don't owe us anything," she said. "I know." "Then why are you still here?" "Because your boy believes in promises. And because I reckon if I walk away now, I'll spend the rest of my life wishing I hadn't." Anna looked at Cole, then back at Jack. Something passed between them, understanding maybe, or just recognition that they were both broken people trying to do right by a child who deserved better than the hand he'd been dealt. "Mr. Stone will come for me," Anna said. "He doesn't let things go. I figured. He's got power, money. The law in his pocket. I know, so what's your plan?" "Don't have one yet, but I'm working on it." "That's not very reassuring." "No, ma'am." "I don't suppose it is." Doc Maggie stepped forward. "Anna needs rest. You two can visit later. Right now, she needs to heal." Jack nodded. He started to leave, but Anna's voice stopped him. "Mr. McCann." He turned. "Thank you for running, for not asking questions, for keeping your word." Jack tipped his head. Didn't know what to say. Words had never been his strong suit. He left the room. Cole followed him out into the hallway. "What now?" the boy asked. "Now I need to find someone who can tell me about Nathaniel Stone, someone who might be willing to help." Doc Maggie said most folks are too scared. "Most," Jack agreed. "But not all. There's always someone. Someone who's been hurt bad enough, or mad enough, or just tired enough of being afraid. How do you find them? You ask around. Careful like. See who looks you in the eye when Stone's name comes up and who looks away." "Can I come?" "No, you stay here with your Mama. But I want to help." "You are helping. By being here. By being safe. That's what your Mama needs right now." Cole looked like he wanted to argue, but he nodded instead. "Okay." Jack stepped out onto the front porch. The street was coming alive. People moving about their business. A wagon rattled past. Two women with shopping baskets walked on the far side, heads together talking. Jack studied the town, really looked at it now. In daylight he could see the structure. The mill dominated the north end, massive, 3 stories tall with smokestacks that reached toward the sky. Even from here, Jack could hear the scream of saws cutting through timber. The rest of the town spread out from the mill like ripples in a pond. The businesses that served the workers, the homes that housed them. Everything connected to that one source of employment, Nathaniel Stone's kingdom. A man stood across the street, leaning against a post, watching. He was big, broad-shouldered, wearing a vest and a flat-brimmed hat. His hand rested on the butt of a holstered pistol, not hiding, not trying to be subtle, just watching. Jack met his eyes, held them. Neither man looked away. Then the man smiled, slow, predatory, like a wolf that had just spotted prey. He pushed off from the post and walked away, casual, taking his time. Jack's hand drifted to his Colt. He didn't draw, didn't need to, but the message was clear. I see you. He walked down the steps and headed toward the center of town, toward the general store. People noticed him, hard not to. A stranger in a small town always drew attention, but these folks did more than notice. They stared, whispered. Word had gotten around. The general store was a long building with a covered porch and barrels of supplies stacked out front. Jack pushed through the door. A bell jangled overhead. The interior was dim, cool, smelling of flour and tobacco and leather. Shelves lined the walls, packed with everything a frontier town might need: dry goods, tools, fabric, ammunition. Behind the counter stood a man in his 40s, thin, balding, wire-rimmed glasses perched on his nose. He looked up when Jack entered, and his whole body went still. "Help you?" the man asked. His voice was carefully neutral. "Need some supplies," Jack said. "Ammunition, .45 caliber. And some bandages if you got them." The man didn't move, just stared at Jack like he was trying to solve a puzzle. "You're the one who brought Anna Bishop to Doc Maggie's. Word travels fast. Small town, people talk." The man paused. "I'm Henry Webb, Jack McCann." Henry nodded slowly. "What you did last night." "Helping Anna." "That took guts. Or stupidity. Haven't decided which. Maybe both." Henry almost smiled. Maybe. He moved behind the counter, started gathering ammunition from a drawer. "You know what you're getting into, Mr. McCann?" "Starting to." "Stone's not going to let this go. Anna worked for him. As far as he's concerned, she's his property until the debt's paid." "Debt's fake," Jack said. "The boy told me." Henry's hands stopped. He looked up, sharp, interested. "What else did the boy tell you?" "That Stone forged papers, made it look like Anna's husband owed money he never borrowed. That after Thomas died, Stone used those papers to force Anna into servitude." Henry was quiet for a long moment. Then he set the ammunition on the counter, lined up the boxes with careful precision. "My wife worked for Stone," Henry said quietly. 3 years. Same arrangement. Debt we never owed. Papers we never signed. I tried to fight it. Tried to go to the sheriff. To the mayor. To anyone who'd listen. What happened? Nothing. That's what happened. Nothing. Because Stone owns them all. The law. The courts. The land. Everything. What about your wife? She's here. Upstairs. Been too scared to leave the house in 2 years. Henry's voice cracked. She can't sleep, can't eat right, jumps at every sound. What they did to her in that mill, what she had to endure. He didn't finish, didn't need to. Jack felt rage building in his chest, cold, controlled. The kind of anger that didn't burn hot, but settled deep and stayed. "How many others?" he asked. Henry looked at him, really looked. Measuring, deciding. 6 families that I know of, maybe more. All the same story. Fake debts, forced labor. Anyone who tries to leave gets hurt or disappears. "Names?" Jack said, "I need names." Henry hesitated. "You understand what you're asking? These folks are scared. They've been beaten down for years. They're not going to stand up just because some stranger rides into town. Maybe not. But I aim to try. Henry pulled out a piece of paper, wrote slowly, carefully. When he was done, he slid it across the counter. Ruth Carver. Lost her husband 2 years ago. Mill accident. Just like Thomas Bishop. She's got 3 kids. Works as a seamstress now. Lives above the dress shop. Jonas Kane. Big man. Used to be a logger. Stone accused him of stealing timber. Had him beaten so bad he can't use his right arm anymore. Does odd jobs around town. Martha and William Hayes. Lost their farm. Stone claimed they owed back taxes. Took the land. Now they work at the hotel. Henry paused. There's more. But these are the ones who might talk. Might. Jack folded the paper. Put it in his pocket. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Talking's one thing. Standing up to Stone is another. And if you push this, if you really try to fight him, people are going to get hurt. People are already hurt. Yeah. Henry's voice was bitter. They are. Jack paid for the ammunition and bandages, stepped back out into the sunlight. The street was busier now. Mid-morning. People going about their lives, trying to survive in a town controlled by a man who saw them as resources to be used and discarded. He found the dress shop 2 buildings down, a narrow storefront with fabric samples hanging in the window. He climbed the exterior stairs to the 2nd floor and knocked. Footsteps inside. Light. Hesitant. Who is it? A woman's voice, cautious. Name's Jack McCann. Henry Webb sent me. The door opened a crack. A woman peered out. Maybe 35, dark hair streaked with gray, eyes that had seen too much and trusted too little. What do you want? To talk. About Nathaniel Stone. The door started to close. Please, Jack said. It's about Anna Bishop. The door stopped, opened a little wider. Anna, is she alive? Yes, ma'am. She's at Doc Maggie's. Hurt bad, but she's going to make it. The woman's eyes filled with tears. Thank God. When I heard she'd run, I thought for sure Stone would kill her. He tried. Ruth Carver studied Jack. What's Anna to you? Nothing. I just happened to be there when her boy came running, made a promise to help. And you're keeping it, trying to? Ruth opened the door fully, stepped back. Come in then. The apartment was small, 1 room divided by a curtain. 3 children sat at a table doing schoolwork. They looked up when Jack entered. Big eyes, wary. Keep working, Ruth told them gently. This won't take long. She led Jack to a corner, spoke in a low voice. What do you want from me? Information. About Stone, about how he operates. Why? Because I aim to stop him. Ruth laughed. Sharp. Bitter. You? And what army? Just me. You're serious. Yes, ma'am. Ruth shook her head. You're going to get yourself killed. And probably Anna too. And anyone else stupid enough to help you. Maybe. But what's the alternative? Let Stone keep doing what he's doing? Let him hurt more people? Take more families? That's how it's always been. Doesn't mean it's how it's got to be. Ruth was quiet for a moment, looked at her children, at the cramped apartment, at the life Stone had forced her into. My husband was a good man, she said finally. Worked at the mill, honest, hard-working. One day a cable broke. He fell 30 feet, broke his back, died 3 days later in agony. I'm sorry. Stone said it was an accident. Paid for the funeral, even gave me $50 for the children. So generous, so kind. Ruth's voice dripped with sarcasm. Then 2 months later, he showed up with papers, said my husband had borrowed money, $300, said I had to pay it back. Did your husband borrow money? Never. We lived simple, saved what we could. Thomas never borrowed a cent in his life. But Stone had papers with my husband's signature. Perfect signature. Like he'd practiced it. Jack felt the pieces clicking together, the pattern becoming clear. Stone targeted men who wouldn't cooperate, caused accidents, then used forged debts to enslave their widows. It was systematic, calculated, evil. What happened to the cable, Jack asked. The one that broke, disappeared. Day after the accident, I tried to find it, wanted to see for myself, but it was gone. Stone said it had been disposed of. Safety protocol. Convenient. Very. Jack pulled out the paper Henry had given him. How many others? Ruth looked at the names. Jonas, Martha, and William. The Hayes lost their farm over back taxes they'd already paid. Stone bought it at auction, for pennies. And Jonas? Beaten within an inch of his life. Stone accused him of stealing timber. No proof, no trial. Just 3 men with clubs who broke his arm in 4 places. Now he can barely work, can barely feed himself. Where can I find him? Lives in a shack behind the livery. But he won't help you. He's too broken, maybe. But I got to try. Ruth looked at Jack for a long moment. You really think you can stop Stone? I don't know, but I know I can't walk away. Not after making a promise to a 7-year-old boy who believes in me. Ruth's expression softened. Just a little. That boy, Cole, he's a sweet child, used to come to the mill kitchen sometimes with his mother, always said please and thank you, always helped clean up. He's the reason I'm here. Then you're a better man than most. Ruth paused. If you're serious about this, you need to know something. What? Stone doesn't fight fair. He uses the law, uses his money, and when that doesn't work, he uses fear. He'll threaten your family, your friends, anyone you care about. Don't have family, don't have friends. Everyone has something they care about, Mr. McCann. And Stone will find it. Jack thought about Cole, about the promise, about the way the boy had looked at him with absolute trust. Let him try, Jack said. He left Ruth's apartment and found the livery at the north end of town. A large barn with a corral out back. Horses moved in the shade, swishing their tails at flies. Behind the barn was a smaller structure, barely more than a shack, leaning, weathered. One window covered with oiled paper. Jack knocked. No answer. He knocked again, louder. Go away. The voice came from inside, deep, rough, broken. Need to talk to you, Jack said. Don't need to talk to nobody. It's about Nathaniel Stone. Silence. Then footsteps. Heavy, uneven. The door opened. A man filled the frame. 6.5 feet tall, shoulders like an ox. But his right arm hung useless at his side, twisted at an unnatural angle. His face was scarred, one eye clouded, the other fixed on Jack with something between suspicion and despair. Who are you? Jack McCann. Don't know you. I helped Anna Bishop last night. Brought her to Doc Maggie's. Jonas's expression changed, shifted. Anna? She alive? Yeah. Stone's men? Yeah. Jonas nodded slowly. Figured they'd catch her eventually. Stone don't let nobody leave. I'm going to change that. Jonas laughed. No humor in it, just bitterness. You in what army? That's the 2nd time today someone's asked me that. Because it's a good question. Stone's got 20 men, maybe more, all loyal, all willing to do whatever he says. You're one man. I've been one man before. Against 20, against worse. Jonas studied Jack, looking for something, strength maybe, or madness. Why do you care? Jonas asked. Anna ain't nothing to you. Made a promise to her boy. A promise. Yeah. Jonas shook his head. Promises don't mean nothing out here. Only thing that matters is power. And Stone's got all of it, maybe. But I aim to try anyway. You'll die trying, probably. But at least I'll die standing up. Jack paused. What about you? You gonna spend the rest of your life hiding in this shack? Or are you gonna stand up too? Jonas's good hand clenched into a fist. You don't know nothing about me. I know Stone broke you, broke your arm, broke your spirit. And I know every day you wake up wishing you'd fought back harder. Jonas's jaw worked. His eye burned with something. Rage, shame, both. I did fight back, he said quietly. Fought 3 of them, put 1 in the ground before they got me down. Then they broke my arm, broke it slow, made sure I'd never work again, made sure I'd be a warning to anyone else who thought about standing against Stone. Jack looked at the man, saw past the scars, past the broken arm, saw what he'd been before, a fighter. A man who'd stood his ground. "You put one in the ground," Jack said. "That means you've got more fight in you than most." Had. Past tense. Past tense is just an excuse. You're still breathing, still standing. That means you can still fight. With one arm, I've seen men fight with less. Jonas was quiet, staring at Jack like he was trying to decide if this stranger was brave or just insane. "What's your plan?" Jonas finally asked. "Gather everyone Stone's hurt. Get them to talk. To testify. Build a case strong enough that even Stone's bought judges can't ignore it. And if that doesn't work, then we make sure Stone understands that hurting people has consequences." "You mean kill him?" "I mean make him answer for what he's done. One way or another." Jonas stepped back, gestured for Jack to come inside. The shack was sparse. A cot, a table, a stove. Everything a man needed to survive, but nothing that made life worth living. Jonas sat heavily on the cot. His right arm hung limp. "6 families," he said. "That I know of. Maybe more. All with the same story. Debts that don't exist. Papers that are forged. People trapped. Can you get them together? Why would they listen to me? I'm broken. A warning of what happens when you fight back. No. You're proof that fighting back is possible. You stood against 3 of Stone's men and took one with you. That's not weakness. That's strength." Jonas looked at his useless arm. "Doesn't feel like strength. Strength ain't about what you can do. It's about what you're willing to do. And you were willing to die rather than give in. That's the kind of strength these people need to see." Jonas was quiet for a long time. Then he looked up, his good eye clear, focused. "You're serious about this, dead serious. You know Stone will kill you. He can try. He'll kill everyone who helps you. Maybe, but at least we'll go down fighting, and maybe, just maybe, we'll take him with us." Jonas stood, towered over Jack. Even broken, he was formidable. "All right," he said. "I'll talk to the others. Get them together. But I can't promise they'll help. That's all I'm asking. When? Tonight, after dark. Can't do it in the open. Stone's got eyes everywhere." "Where?" "The old church, south end of town. Hasn't been used in years. Nobody goes there." Jonas nodded. "I'll spread the word." Jack held out his hand. Jonas looked at it, then reached out with his good hand and shook. The grip was strong, firm. The grip of a man who'd just found something he thought he'd lost. Hope. Jack left the shack and walked back through town. The sun was high now, hot. People moved in the shade where they could find it. Nobody met his eyes. Everyone knew who he was, what he'd done, what he represented. Trouble. He stopped at the general store. Henry Webb looked up from behind the counter. "Word's spreading," Henry said. "People are talking about the stranger who helped Anna. About what you're planning." "Good." "Good?" Henry shook his head. "Stone's gonna hear. Probably already has. Let him." "You got a death wish, Mr. McCann?" "No. Just a promise to keep." Henry sighed. "There's a man. Outside. Been standing across the street for the last hour, watching your horse, watching the store, waiting." Jack looked through the window. The same man from earlier. Big. Armed. Patient. "He one of Stone's?" "Yeah. Name's Brock. Stone's foreman. Meanest son of a bitch in 3 counties. He's the one who cut Anna." Jack felt something cold settle in his chest. The man who'd hurt Anna, who'd terrorized Cole, who'd left them to die. "He's just watching," Henry said nervously. "For now." "For now," Jack agreed. He stepped out onto the porch. Brock was still there, leaning against a post, smiling. Jack walked toward him, slow, deliberate, hand near his Colt but not touching it. Brock pushed off the post, stood straight. He was big. Bigger than Jack, maybe 6'4", thick through the chest and shoulders. His right hand rested on a knife at his belt. "You must be the hero," Brock said. His voice was rough, mocking. "The one who saved the thief, if you mean Anna Bishop, yeah. She stole from Mr. Stone, money and property. That makes her a criminal. She took what was owed to her. That ain't for you to decide." "No, It's for a court to decide. A real court, not Stone's kangaroo show. Brock's smile widened. Big words from a man who's all alone. I ain't alone. No? Brock looked around theatrically. Don't see nobody standing with you, not yet. But they will. You're dreaming. These folks know better than to cross Mr. Stone. They've seen what happens. I've seen what happens, too. Saw what you did to Anna. Saw the knife wound. Real brave. Cutting up a woman. Brock's smile disappeared. She needed to learn. Learn what? That Stone owns her? That she's got no rights, no hope? She needed to learn that you don't steal from Nathaniel Stone. And what do you need to learn? Brock's hand moved to the knife. You threatening me? Just asking a question. Brock stepped closer, close enough that Jack could smell tobacco and sweat and violence. I'm going to give you some advice, stranger. Get on your horse, ride out. Forget you ever saw Anna Bishop or her brat, because if you stay, you're going to die. Slow, painful. And nobody's going to help you. Nobody's going to remember you. You'll just disappear like all the others who thought they could stand against Stone. Jack looked up at the bigger man. Didn't blink. Didn't step back. I made a promise, Jack said quietly, to a 7-year-old boy. And I keep my promises. Then you're a fool. Maybe. But I'm a fool who's still standing. Not for long. Brock turned and walked away, slow, confident, like a man who knew he held all the cards. Jack watched him go, felt the weight of what was coming settle on his shoulders. He walked back to Doc Maggie's. Cole was on the porch, waiting. You okay? The boy asked. Yeah, son, I'm okay. I saw you talking to that man, the big one. His name's Brock. Cole's face went pale. That's the man who hurt Mama, I know. Are you going to fight him? If I have to, he's real big. Size don't matter much when bullets fly. Cole was quiet for a moment. You scared? Jack knelt down, looked the boy in the eye. Yeah, I'm scared, but being scared don't mean you quit. It just means you got to be careful. Mama says brave men are always scared. Your mama's a smart woman. Cole threw his arms around Jack's neck, held on tight. Don't die, he whispered. Please don't die. Jack's arms came up, wrapped around the small body, and for the first time in 7 years, he felt something break open inside him, something that had been frozen and buried and locked away. I'll do my best, he said. I promise. That night, after dark, Jack walked to the old church at the south end of town. It stood alone, separated from the other buildings, white paint peeling, windows broken, a steeple that leaned slightly to the left, but inside lamplight glowed. Jack pushed open the door. It creaked on rusted hinges. 6 people sat in the pews, Jonas, Henry, and his wife, a thin woman with haunted eyes. Ruth Carver, Martha, and William Hayes, an older couple holding hands, and one more, a young man, maybe 20, with burn scars covering half his face. They all turned when Jack entered. Jonas stood. This is everyone who would come, 6 people, out of a town of maybe 300, but it was a start. Jack walked to the front, stood before them. Thank you for coming, he said. I know it wasn't easy. I know you're scared. I would be too. He looked at each of them, saw the fear, the hope, the desperate need to believe that something could change. Nathaniel Stone has been hurting people in this town for years, Jack continued, forging debts, forcing people into servitude, causing accidents, and getting away with it because nobody's had the courage to stand together. Henry's wife spoke. Her voice was small. What can we do? He owns everything, the law, the courts, the land. We can tell the truth, all of us, together. We can document every forged paper, every fake debt, every accident that wasn't an accident. We can build a case so strong that even Stones-bought judges can't ignore it. And if they do ignore it, Ruth asked, then we take it higher, to the territorial governor, to a federal marshal, to anyone who will listen. That could take months, maybe. But it's better than living like this, better than being scared every day, better than watching our children grow up in a town where one man holds all the power. The young man with the burn scars spoke. His name's Daniel. Jack had learned. He'd worked in Stone's mill. "What if Stone comes after us?" Daniel asked. "Before we can get help?" "Then we stand together. We protect each other. We make sure he knows that hurting one of us means fighting all of us. We're not fighters," Martha Hayes said. "We're just ordinary people. Every fighter starts as ordinary people." Jack's voice was quiet but firm. "Courage ain't something you're born with. It's something you choose, every day, every moment." Jonas stepped forward, his massive frame casting shadows in the lamplight. "I'll stand with him," Jonas said. "Already lost everything Stone could take. Got nothing left to lose." Henry stood next. "My wife's been broken long enough. If there's a chance to make this right, I gotta take it." One by one they stood. Ruth, Martha and William, Daniel. 6 people. Against an empire. But it was something. Jack felt that old familiar feeling, the one from his cavalry days. When you're outnumbered and outgunned, but you've got good people beside you and a cause worth fighting for. "Here's what we're going to do," Jack said. "Tomorrow, we start gathering evidence. Every forged document, every witness to Stone's crimes. We document everything. Names, dates, amounts. We build an airtight case, and then," Henry asked, "then we take it to the territorial marshal, force him to act. What if he won't? Then we make enough noise that someone higher up has to pay attention." They talked for another hour, making plans, assigning tasks. Jonas would talk to the mill workers. Henry would search records at the land office. Ruth would reach out to other widows. It wasn't much, but it was a start. As they filed out into the darkness, Jonas pulled Jack aside. "You know this is going to get ugly," Jonas said. "I know. Stone won't let this go. He'll come at you hard. Let him. You got a plan for when he does?" "Same plan I always have. Stand my ground. Protect what matters." Jonas nodded. "Then I'll be standing with you." Jack watched the others disappear into the night. 6 people. 6 families. 6 reasons to fight. He walked back toward Doc Maggie's through the dark streets. The town was quiet. Most windows dark. People sleeping, dreaming, hoping for better days. Jack hoped he could give them that. He was halfway there when he heard the footsteps behind him. More than one person, moving quiet, but not quiet enough. Jack's hand went to his Colt. He turned. 3 men stepped out of the shadows. Not Brock, different men, younger, nervous, but armed. The one in front spoke. "Mr. Stone wants to see you. Tell Mr. Stone I'm busy." Wasn't a request. Jack's hand stayed on his Colt. "I go where I want, when I want. Not when some tin-pot tyrant summons me." The young man's hand moved toward his gun. "Big mistake, mister." Jack's Colt was out and leveled before the man's fingers touched his grip. The other 2 froze. "You boys want to think real careful about your next move," Jack said quietly. "Because I promise you, if guns come out, at least 2 of you are going to die. Maybe all 3. Question is, which 2? The young men looked at each other, calculating, realizing they'd misjudged. "Tell Stone if he wants to talk, he knows where to find me." Jack's voice was cold. "But he comes alone. No guns, no games, just talk. He ain't gonna like that. Don't much care what he likes." Jack backed away, kept the Colt pointed at them until he'd put distance between them. Then he turned and walked. Not running, not hurrying. Just walking like a man who had nothing to fear. But his heart was pounding. His hands were shaking. He'd just drawn on 3 of Stone's men. There was no going back now. He reached Doc Maggie's. The house was dark except for one lamp in the surgery window. Jack slipped around back to the barn. Cole was there, sitting in the hay, waiting. "Couldn't sleep," the boy said. "Me neither." Jack sat beside him. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. "Jack?" Cole's voice was small. "Yeah? When this is over, when Mama's safe, you gonna leave?" Jack thought about that, about 7 years of running, about Emma and Sarah and all the promises he'd broken, about this boy who believed in him. "I don't know, son. Haven't thought that far ahead. I hope you stay." "Why's that?" "Because you keep your promises, and because Mama smiles when you're around." She ain't smiled in a long time. Jack's throat tightened. Your mama's got a lot to smile about. She's got you. But she's been sad, real sad, since Daddy died. But tonight, when you came to check on her, she smiled, really smiled. Jack didn't know what to say to that. They sat together until Cole's head drooped against Jack's shoulder. The boy was asleep in minutes. Jack looked down at him, at this child who'd run barefoot through the wilderness to save his mother, who believed in promises and goodness, and the idea that broken people could be fixed. And Jack McCann, who'd spent 7 years running from everything that mattered, made a decision. He wasn't running anymore. Dawn came cold and gray. Jack woke to the sound of horses. Too many horses. He was on his feet with the Colt in his hand before his eyes were fully open. Old cavalry instincts. Through the barn slats, he could see them, 5 riders on the main street, moving slow, deliberate, like men who owned the world and everything in it. Nathaniel Stone rode in the center. Jack had never seen the man before, but he knew him instantly. Everything about Stone screamed power. The black horse, expensive and well-bred. The tailored suit, dark and immaculate. The straight-backed posture of a man who'd never bowed to anyone in his life. Stone was maybe 50, gray at the temples, clean-shaven, handsome in a cold, calculating way. His eyes swept the street, taking in everything, missing nothing. Beside him rode Brock. The big foreman looked eager, hungry, like a dog waiting for permission to bite. The other 3 were younger, hard men with dead eyes, the kind who did what they were told and didn't ask questions. They stopped in front of Doc Maggie's house. Stone dismounted, smooth, graceful. He adjusted his coat, brushed dust from his sleeves, and walked up the porch steps like he owned them. Jack was already moving. He slipped out the back of the barn, came around the side of the house. Quiet. His hand never left the Colt. Stone knocked on the door, polite, almost gentle. Doc Maggie answered. She stood in the doorway, blocking entrance. Her face was set hard. "Mr. Stone?" she said. Her voice was cold enough to freeze water. "Dr. Harrison." Stone's voice was cultured, educated, the voice of a man who'd been to the finest schools back east. "I'm here for Anna Bishop. She's in no condition to be moved. That's for me to decide. She's my employee. She stole from me. I'm taking her back. She's my patient, and she's not going anywhere." Stone's smile never wavered, but his eyes went colder. "I'm afraid I must insist." Jack stepped around the corner, onto the porch. The Colt hung loose in his right hand, not pointed at anyone, not yet. The lady said no. Stone turned, looked at Jack, really looked, measuring, calculating. The way a man looks at an obstacle he's trying to figure out how to remove. "And you are?" "Jack McCann." "Ah, the hero." Stone's smile widened. "Just a fraction. I've heard about you, the stranger who rescued the damsel in distress. Very noble, just doing what's right." "What's right?" Stone repeated the words like they were foreign. "That's an interesting concept. Tell me, Mr. McCann, do you believe theft is right?" "Depends on what's being stolen. Anna Bishop took $160 from my safe. She also took property belonging to me, papers, documents. That makes her a thief. She took wages you owed her, and papers that prove you forged her husband's debt." Stone's expression didn't change, not even a flicker. "That's a serious accusation. It's the truth. Truth is what can be proven in a court of law. And I have documents, legal documents, signed and witnessed, proving Thomas Bishop owed me $800. Documents you forged. Prove it." The 2 men stared at each other. Jack could feel the tension radiating off Stone like heat from a stove. This was a man used to being obeyed, used to getting his way. The fact that Jack was standing in his path was probably the first real resistance he'd faced in years. "Anna Bishop is under my protection," Jack said quietly. "She stays here until she's healed. Then she's free to go wherever she wants. Protection." Stone almost laughed. You've been in town less than 2 days. You have no authority, no position, no power. What makes you think you can protect anyone? The fact that I'm standing here, and you're not going through that door. Brock stepped forward, his hand on the knife at his belt. Want me to move him, Mr. Stone? Stone held up one hand. Brock froze. No need for violence, Stone said smoothly. Not yet. He looked at Jack. You're making a mistake, Mr. McCann. Anna Bishop is a criminal. She will be returned to me. If not today, then tomorrow. If not by you willingly, then by force. The law is on my side, the law you bought, the law that matters. Stone adjusted his coat again. I'm a patient man. I've built everything I have through patience and careful planning. I can afford to wait. Can you? For as long as it takes. We'll see. Stone turned to leave, then stopped, looked back. One more thing, he said. His voice was pleasant, conversational. I know about your little meeting last night, at the old church. 6 people. How quaint. Jack's blood went cold. You see, Mr. McCann, nothing happens in this town without me knowing. Every person you talked to yesterday, every word spoken at that church, I know it all. He paused. And so do those 6 people. They know I know. They're probably lying awake right now, wondering if I'm going to come for them, wondering what I'm going to do. You touch them and what? Stone's smile was razor sharp. You'll fight me? You're one man. I have 50. You'll go to the law? I am the law. You'll tell people the truth? Nobody cares about the truth when they're scared for their lives. Jack's hand tightened on the Colt. Go ahead, Stone said. Draw. Shoot me right here in the street. See what happens. My men will kill you. The sheriff will rule it murder. And Anna Bishop will be taken back to my mill within the hour. Her boy, too. He paused. Is that what you want? Jack didn't move. Every muscle in his body screamed to pull the trigger, to end this man right here, right now. But Stone was right. Killing him wouldn't solve anything. It would just make things worse. I thought not. Stone mounted his horse. Smooth, controlled. He looked down at Jack from that superior position. You have until tomorrow morning. Then I'm coming back with the sheriff and a court order. And Anna Bishop will be arrested for theft, tried, convicted, and returned to me. Unless, of course, you'd like to leave town. Take your misplaced heroism somewhere else. Save yourself the trouble. I'm not going anywhere. Pity. Stone gathered his reins. For what it's worth, I respect your courage. It's misplaced, but admirable. He nodded to Brock. Come, we have work to do. They rode away, slow, taking their time. Making sure everyone saw them, making sure everyone understood. Stone was still in control. Jack stood on the porch, shaking with rage. Doc Maggie touched his arm. He's going to come back, she said. And when he does, he'll have the law on his side. Real or bought, it won't matter. He'll take Anna. Then we need to make sure he can't. How? Jack thought fast. We need evidence, real evidence. Something so solid even Stone can't talk his way around it. The forged documents? Not enough. Stone will just produce more documents, more witnesses, more proof, all of it manufactured. Jack's mind raced. We need something he can't fake, something that proves Thomas Bishop's death wasn't an accident. Doc Maggie's eyes widened. The cable. The one that broke. You said it disappeared. It did. But cables don't just vanish. Stone must have kept it, destroyed it, or hidden it somewhere. Where? I don't know. But if we could find it, if we could prove it was cut, then it's murder. And even Stone can't buy his way out of murder. Jack looked toward the mill. The massive structure dominated the north end of town. Smokestacks, warehouses, offices. Somewhere in that complex was evidence that could bring Stone down. He just had to find it. I need to get inside that mill, Jack said. Doc Maggie shook her head. Impossible. Stone has guards, workers loyal to him. You'd never make it. Then I need someone who knows the layout, someone who's been inside. Anna. Jack went inside, found Anna sitting up in bed, Cole beside her. She looked better, color in her face, eyes clear. "I need your help," Jack said. Anna looked at him. "Anything. The cable that killed your husband. Where would Stone have put it?" Anna's face went pale. "I don't know. I tried to find it, searched everywhere I could. It was gone." "Think. You worked in that mill for 18 months. You saw how Stone operated. Where would he hide something he wanted to make sure nobody ever found?" Anna closed her eyes, thinking, remembering. "There's a building," she said slowly, "behind the main mill. Stone calls it the equipment shed, but it's locked, always locked. Nobody's allowed inside except Brock and Stone himself. What's in it? I don't know, but I saw Brock carry things in there, things wrapped in canvas, things he didn't want anyone to see. How big is it? Not big, maybe 20 by 20, but it's solid. Stone had it built special. Thick walls, iron door, like he was keeping something valuable. Or dangerous. That's where it is," Jack said. "Has to be. Even if it is, how are you going to get in? The door's locked. The whole mill is guarded at night." Jack looked at Anna, then at Cole, at Doc Maggie standing in the doorway. He thought about the 6 people from last night, about Jonas and Henry and Ruth, and all the others Stone had hurt. "I'm not going alone," Jack said. That afternoon, Jack gathered them in the barn behind Doc Maggie's house, all 6 from the church meeting, plus 2 more who'd heard and wanted to help. 8 people total: Jonas, Henry, Ruth, Martha and William Hayes, Daniel with the burn scars, and 2 new faces. A woman named Sarah who'd lost her son to a mill accident, and an old man called Dutch who'd worked for Stone 20 years before being discarded. Jack laid out the plan. "Tonight after dark, we're going into that mill. We're going to find evidence that Thomas Bishop was murdered. That Stone has been killing people who stand against him." Henry looked nervous. "That's breaking and entering. If we're caught, we won't be caught. You can't promise that." "No, I can't. But I can promise that if we do nothing, Stone wins." Anna goes back to him. "Cole grows up knowing nobody stood up for his mother, and we all keep living in fear." Jonas spoke up. His deep voice filled the barn. "I'm in. Already told you that." Ruth nodded. "Me too. For my husband." One by one they agreed. Even Henry, despite his fear. Even Dutch, who was 70 if he was a day. Jack laid out the specifics. Jonas knew the mill layout from his logging days. Dutch remembered the guard rotations from when he worked there. Together, they planned the approach. 2 teams. One would create a distraction at the main gate. The other would slip in through the lumber yard and make for the equipment shed. Jack would lead the second team, with Jonas and Dutch. "What about the lock?" Ruth asked. Dutch smiled. "Worked as a locksmith before I came to Montana. I can open any lock Stone's got." They spent the rest of the afternoon preparing, gathering tools, dark clothes, planning escape routes. As the sun set, Jack went to check on Anna one last time. She was sitting up, stronger now, color fully returned. "You're going tonight," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yeah, you're risking your life for people you don't even know." "I know you. I know Cole. That's enough." Anna reached out, took Jack's hand. Her grip was strong. "Why?" she asked. "Why are you doing this?" Jack thought about that. About Emma. About Sarah. About 7 years of running from the one thing that had always defined him. His word. "Because I made a promise," he said simply. "To your boy. And because for 7 years I've been half a man. Running from everything that mattered. I'm tired of running. Tired of being afraid to care about people because I might lose them. You lost someone. My wife. My daughter. 7 years ago, fever took them while I was away. I wasn't there when they needed me. Broke the promise I'd made to keep them safe." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "That wasn't your fault." "Doesn't matter. I still broke my word. And I've been paying for it ever since." He paused. "But your boy, he reminded me what it means to keep a promise, what it means to stand for something, to be the man I used to be. And if you die tonight, then at least I died trying. At least I stood for something." Anna pulled Jack close, kissed his forehead. like a benediction. "Come back," she whispered. "Please come back, I'll try, that's all I ask." Jack found Cole outside. The boy was practicing with a rope, trying to make a lasso. He wasn't very good at it. "Your daddy teach you that?" Jack asked. "Started to." Cole's voice was sad. "But he died before I got good." Jack took the rope. Showed Cole how to make the loop, how to swing it, how to release at the right moment. They practiced together as the light faded, father and son, except they weren't. Except maybe they were becoming something like it. "Jack," Cole said, "when you come back, can you teach me more?" "Yeah, son, I'd like that." "Good," Cole smiled, "because I like having you around." Jack's chest tightened. He knelt down, looked Cole in the eye. "Listen to me. What I'm doing tonight, it's dangerous. And if something happens, if I don't come back, I need you to know something. You're coming back." "But if I don't?" Jack's voice was firm. "You take care of your mama. You be the man of the family. You stay strong, understand?" Cole's eyes filled with tears. "You promised." "I know, and I'm going to try. But promises aren't magic. They don't make things certain. They just mean you're going to give everything you've got. Then give everything." Cole threw his arms around Jack's neck. "Please." Jack held the boy, felt the small body shaking, felt his own eyes burn with tears he hadn't shed in 7 years. "I will," he whispered. "I promise." Full dark came at 9. Jack and his team gathered at the edge of town. 8 people dressed in dark clothes, armed with tools and courage and desperation. Henry led the distraction team, 4 people who had approached the main gate, pretending to be drunk workers from the saloon. Loud, disruptive, drawing the guards' attention. Jack led the infiltration team. Jonas, Dutch, Sarah, who insisted on coming because it was her son's death they were avenging. They moved through the darkness, silent. The mill loomed ahead, massive, its smokestacks like fingers pointing accusingly at the sky. The distraction team split off. Jack heard them a few minutes later. Loud voices, singing. The guards shouting at them to move along. Jack's team slipped through the lumberyard. Mountains of cut timber created shadows deep enough to hide an army. They moved from stack to stack, getting closer. The equipment shed sat behind the main building, exactly where Anna had described. 20 by 20, solid construction, iron door. One small window high up barred. Dutch moved forward, pulled tools from his coat, started working on the lock. Jonas stood watch, his massive frame blocking one angle of approach. Jack watched the other, hand on his Colt, heart pounding. Minutes passed, each one feeling like an hour. Then a soft click. Dutch stepped back. The lock was open. Jack pulled the door. It swung inward on well-oiled hinges. Inside was darkness. Jonas struck a match. The small flame pushed back the shadows. The shed was filled with equipment, saws, cables, spare parts. And in the back corner, wrapped in canvas and covered with dust, something large. Jack moved toward it, pulled back the canvas, cables, dozens of them, all damaged, all replaced. All kept for some reason Jack was beginning to understand. Evidence. Stone kept the evidence of every accident, every murder, in case he ever needed to destroy it or use it to threaten someone. "Find Thomas Bishop's," Jack said. Date would be 9 months ago. They searched. Sarah held the match while Jonas and Jack sorted through the cables. Then Jack found it. Tagged with a date, the right date. He pulled it out. Even in the dim light he could see the cut. Clean. Deliberate. Not a break. Not wear and tear. Someone had taken a blade and weakened the cable. Left just enough strands intact that it would hold for a while. Then fail under weight. Murder. But there was more. Behind the cables, wrapped in oilcloth, was a leather-bound book. Jack pulled it out. Opened it. The match was dying, but he could read enough. It was Thomas Bishop's work journal, the one Anna said had disappeared after his death. Jack flipped pages, saw entries in neat handwriting, careful notes about every job, every inspection, every cable check, and on the last page, written 3 days before Thomas died, Mr. Stone wants me to forge inspection records for the North Platform. Says cables are fine, but dates don't match his schedule. I refused. Told him I won't sign my name to something false. He got angry, said I'd regret it, said I owe him. I don't owe him nothing. A man's word is his bond. I won't break mine. Jack's blood went cold. This was premeditation. Stone had asked Thomas to lie. Thomas refused, so Stone killed him. Got it, Jack said. Got both. Let's go. The right date. He pulled it out. Even in the dim light, he could see the cut. Clean. Deliberate. Not a break. Not wear and tear. Someone had taken a blade and weakened the cable, left just enough strands intact that it would hold for a while, then fail under weight. Murder. Got it, Jack said. Let's go. They rewrapped the other cables, tried to leave everything as they'd found it. Then they slipped back out. Dutch relocked the door, pocketed his tools. They were 20 feet away when the shout came. "Hey, who's there?" A guard, coming around the corner, lantern in one hand, pistol in the other. "Run," Jack said. They ran, through the lumberyard. The guard behind them, shouting, more voices joining, more lanterns. Jonas grabbed Sarah as she stumbled, kept her moving. Dutch was fast for an old man, keeping pace. Gunshots, wood splintering as bullets struck the lumber stacks. They burst out of the yard, into the open. The distraction team was scattering, guards chasing them. Jack's team split up. Jonas and Sarah went left. Dutch went right. Jack ran straight, clutching the cable, the evidence. Behind him, boots pounded, men shouting, dogs barking. Jack ran harder. His lungs burned, his legs screamed, but he didn't stop. He cut through an alley, vaulted a fence, came out on a side street, a horse, tied outside the saloon. Jack didn't think. Just grabbed the reins, swung up. The horse took off, galloping through the dark streets. Jack leaned low over its neck, the cable wrapped around his arm. More shots. One buzzed past his ear like an angry wasp. He rode hard, out of town, into the darkness beyond. A mile out he slowed, looked back. No pursuit, not yet. He circled wide, came back toward town from the south, rode straight to Doc Maggie's. The others were there, all of them, breathing hard, scared, but alive. Jonas grinned. That was close. Too close, Henry said. His face was white. We barely made it out, but we made it. Jack held up the cable, and we got what we came for. Doc Maggie examined it. Even she, no expert in such things, could see the cut. "This is murder," she said. "Plain as day. Now we just need to get it to someone who can do something about it." "Who?" Henry asked. "The sheriff's bought. The local judge is Stone's friend." "Who's going to help us?" Jack had been thinking about that. "There's a U.S. Marshal in Helena, Sam Garrett. Served with him during the war. Good man. Honest. Helena's 3 days' ride. Then I better get moving." Anna appeared in the doorway, pale, weak, but standing. "You can't go alone," she said. "Stone will send men after you. They'll hunt you down. I'll move fast. Stay off the main roads." Anna shook her head, walked to Jack, put her hand on his arm. "Send someone else. You stay here. Help protect us. I'm the only one Stone doesn't control. The only one who can make sure this reaches the marshal. Then take someone with you, Jonas or Dutch." Jack looked at Jonas. The big man shook his head. "I'm needed here, to protect the families. Stone's gonna be angry when he finds out about tonight. He'll come after everyone who helped." He was right. "I'll go alone," Jack said, fast and quiet. "I'll be back in a week with a U.S. Marshal and a warrant." Anna's eyes filled with tears. "What if you don't come back? Then Jonas and the others will have to hold until help arrives. That's not good enough. It's all I got." Anna pulled Jack close, kissed him. Not on the forehead this time, on the lips, hard, desperate. When she pulled back, her eyes were fierce. "You come back," she said. "You promised Cole. You promised me. You come back, I will, or I'll die trying." That's not comforting. It's the truth. Jack gathered supplies, ammunition, water, food. The cable wrapped carefully and tied to his saddle. Cole found him in the barn. "You're leaving, just for a few days. You're going to get help." "Yeah." Cole was quiet. Then, "You're the bravest man I ever met." Jack knelt down. "I'm not brave, son. I'm just trying to keep a promise. That's what brave is." Jack hugged the boy, held him tight. "You take care of your mama. And if anything happens, if Stone comes before I get back, you run. You hear me? Don't try to be a hero, just run." "What about you? I'll be back, I promise." Jack mounted Copper. The mare was tired from the run earlier, but she was game, always game. He rode out under a moonless sky. The stars, his only light. The cable, his only hope. Behind him, Silver Bend grew smaller, darker, until it disappeared entirely. And Jack McCann, who'd spent 7 years running from everything that mattered, rode hard toward the one thing that could save the people he'd come to care about. He rode for 3 days, sleeping rough, eating in the saddle, pushing Copper as hard as he dared. On the second day, he spotted them, 3 riders, following at a distance. Stone's men. Jack pushed harder, but Copper was tiring. The riders were gaining. By the 3rd day, they were close. Close enough that Jack could see their faces. One of them was Brock. Jack found a defensive position, a rocky outcrop with good sight lines. He dismounted, took his rifle, settled in. The 3 riders approached, cautious now. Knowing Jack was armed, they stopped 50 yards out. Brock rode forward alone. "Give us the cable," he shouted, "and we'll let you live." "No. Stone knows what you took, knows where you're going. There's a telegraph office in Helena. He's already sent word to the marshal. Told him you're a murderer, a horse thief. By the time you arrive, there'll be a warrant for your arrest." Jack's stomach dropped. He hadn't thought of that. "Give us the cable," Brock repeated, "right away. Live to see another day." Jack thought about Anna, about Cole, about the 6 families who'd risked everything to help him. "No," he said again. "Then you're a dead man." The gunfight lasted maybe 3 minutes. Jack fired first, dropped one of Brock's men from the saddle. The other 2 scattered, found cover, returned fire. Bullets pinged off the rocks around Jack. He fired again, missed. Brock was circling, trying to flank. Jack saw him, swung the rifle, fired. Brock's horse went down. The big man rolled free, came up with a pistol. They traded shots. Jack felt something hot graze his shoulder. Blood soaked his shirt. He fired again, caught Brock in the leg. The foreman went down, cursing. The 3rd man broke, rode off, abandoning Brock. Jack stood, walked toward Brock. The big man lay in the dirt, blood pooling under his leg. "You should have left us alone," Brock said. His voice was weak. "Stone's going to kill everyone. That woman, her boy, everyone who helped you." "Not if I get to Helena first. You won't make it. Even if you do, the marshal won't listen. Stone's got him too, maybe, but I got to try." "Why?" Brock coughed. Blood flecked his lips. "They're nothing to you. They're people. And they deserve better than Stone." Jack took Brock's guns, left him there, alive but wounded. He rode on, harder now, knowing time was running out. Helena appeared on the horizon at sunset on the 4th day. Jack rode straight to the marshal's office. Sam Garrett was older than Jack remembered, gray-haired, weathered, but his eyes were still sharp. "Jack McCann," Sam said. "I'll be damned. Thought you were dead. Not yet." Jack laid the cable on Sam's desk, told him everything. Stone, Anna, Thomas Bishop, the forged debts, the murders disguised as accidents. Sam listened, his face growing darker with each word. When Jack finished, Sam sat back. "I got a telegram about you," Sam said, "from Nathaniel Stone. Says you murdered one of his men. Stole a horse, assaulted several others. It's all lies." "I know." Sam's eyes were hard. "I've been hearing about Stone for years. Complaints, accusations, but never any evidence. Until now." He picked up the cable, examined it. "This is murder," Sam said. "Plain as day. Can you help?" "I can get a warrant. Federal warrant. Stone won't be able to buy his way out of this." "How long?" "I can leave tomorrow, with deputies. Should reach Silver Bend in 3 days. That's too long." "Stone knows I came here. He'll move against the people who helped me. Sam shook his head. Can't leave tonight. Need to get the warrant signed. Gather men. 3 days is the best I can do. Jack felt desperation claw at him. 3 days. In 3 days, Stone could kill everyone. Then I'm going back tonight. You'll be riding into a trap. Maybe, but I made a promise. Jack, you'll die, probably, but at least I'll die keeping my word. Sam studied him, then nodded slowly. You always were stubborn. He stood, extended his hand. I'll be there in 3 days. You hold until then. I'll hold. Jack rode out that night, exhausted, wounded, but moving. He had to get back, had to protect them, had to keep his promise. The ride back was a blur. Jack pushed Copper harder than he ever had. The mare gave everything she had. 2 days later, he saw the smoke. Silver Bend was burning.